for the Mayo North Gathering Gala Dinner. I'd like to thank both Mayor John O'Malley and Vincent Roach for their very warm words. You know, growing up in a town, you never know what life will bring you. And I didn't know when I was Mary Burke, going to Miss Ruddy's school with my brothers and being in the town, where life would lead. And so I'm still that young girl in a way. I haven't changed very much from what that was. So sometimes it's a bit hard to be so praised in your own town, but I really appreciate the words. I'm particularly glad to be here because this is the culmination, as we know, of 9 days of activities and community involvement in North Mayo. And it's also a time for North Mayo to particularly link with the places that are so special to us. And I know from being photographed earlier with different groups how important the link with Manchester is, how important the link with Pittsfield is, how important the link with other places. People have come from Vancouver, people have come from quite far away. And everyone, local and a visitor, is particularly welcome as we celebrate together our strong Mayo connection. I know about that strong Mayo connection because wherever I am, whether it's giving out degrees in Trinity because I happen to be Chancellor of the University, or whether it's Mayo people who are always ones who go, we're from Mayo. It's the inside track. So it's the inside track tonight. And it was very special to me, and many of you will have forgotten this, but it was very special to me in 1988, when I was awarded what was actually slightly changed to be the Mayo Person of the Year. Had I been a man, we know what it would have been called. But being a woman, it was the Mayo Person of the Year. But it was actually very special because after all, I had been working out of Dublin and then as High Commissioner for Human Rights. You know, I was working, well, no, that was before but I had been a senator working out of Dublin mainly. And to be valued and appreciated by your own county and your own people is very special. And that award is one that meant a great deal to me. It meant a great deal to my father as well and to my family, but it really was something that I particularly appreciated. And that's in a way why I was very pleased earlier this evening to plant on all our behalf, in honour of this occasion, a beautiful tree, the biggest tree I have ever planted as a new tree in the Tom Ruan Park earlier this evening. And you know, there was reference to the light in the window. I had no idea on the night of the excitement of the election, when I was asked to make a speech in the fullness of that excitement of the result, and said that I would put a light in the window of Áras an Uachtaráin for all of those who had to emigrate from Ireland, how powerful that light would be. Nothing prepared me for the impact of that symbol, the extraordinary power of a light to make a connection. And that was, in fact, what led me, a couple of years later, to address both houses of the Oireachtas about the Irish diaspora. And I remember very well, because I think I was a bit nervous addressing both houses of the Oireachtas, despite the fact I was president. It was the second time I'd done it, but even so, it's a very formal occasion. And so I made a very formal speech. I didn't have any jokes, no relaxation, no nothing, just I gave the speech as I had prepared it. And it didn't really resonate in the House. And I remember, you know, coming out feeling a bit deflated, you know, feeling, oh dear, you know, something's missing. And then suddenly, all the emails, all the messages came in from around the world. It was quite extraordinary. Messages from priests or nuns in the middle of China or the middle of Africa saying, we heard you, that was wonderful. Ted Kennedy saying, I'm putting this on the record of the Congress in the United States, this is wonderful. And then I realized that in fact there was a larger audience that was there to hear at that time. And maybe because I played it a little bit too formally, the audience at home hadn't been quite so warm. But it really was, for me, an understanding of just how much that connection was real and needed to be validated, needed to be brought home in a way, needed to be acknowledged. The connection of Irish people, of Irish heritage with their country, with their people, with the long history, with all of that, and the strength that it would bring us in the future. And this is what we've been celebrating for the last 9 days in North Mayo. I was very struck when I looked at the programme, because these are places I know from my childhood, so I want to name them. Attimas,
hey.
Ballycastle, Strayed, Belderrick, Foxford, Moygana, Swinford, Lahardone, Ballina, of course, Ballycommon, Kalana, Ennisco House in Crossmolina, Enniscrone. Enniscrone is not in Mayo. But we also celebrate it, but we all go to Enniscrone, so we know, as Mayo people, why Enniscrone is there. And what it reminded me of when I looked at that list and looked at the programme, it reminded me very vividly, of the lessons that I learned when I was seeking votes in this country in 1990, seeking to become President of Ireland, travelling the length and breadth of this country. What did I see? I saw that we had recovered from a very tough period in the 80s, the early 80s. Some of you will remember how bad it was, how jobless, the immigration, and we were coming out of that. And at the same time, in towns and villages and parishes, people didn't feel that there were the facilities for young people, facilities for the elderly, facilities for people with disability. And so people got energized. And I was astounded and very inspired by the fact that throughout the length and breadth of that Ireland in 1990 that I saw, people were involved in community self-development, the spirit of Mehel clubs. It was quite phenomenal. I mean, I talked it up because I recognized its importance, and I think it was a really phenomenal engagement of people on behalf of their community. And I learned a lot from that spirit of Mehel. I learned from the old proverb that we all know, Is scachachela a warren lilini. It's in each other's shadow that we flourish. And somehow, a little bit during the more wealthy so-called years and the Celtic Tiger time, I think we became a little bit more selfish. Some people were becoming much richer, and people were less inclined to be more community involved. And that's why I find now so inspirational, because now is a very tough time, very, very tough time. There are a lot of communities, a lot of families, a lot of households, a lot of businesses that are on the edge, that are in very difficult times. And yet, here we are. The resilience, the fight back, that sense of having a capacity to be a community and to fight for that community and to know that we are bound together and that that's what really is what we are all about. So that spirit of Mehel is right back in Ireland. It's right back in this week that we've had in North Mayo, in celebrating in so many different ways, and we'll hear the musicians later inspire us further. So I'd like to warmly thank Vincent Roach and his very hard-working committee. They're on the back of the menu tonight, the commemorative menu, which I've already put in my bag. I want to take away with me to keep as a souvenir. And all of you who've come for this wonderful occasion. And I want to end with what is perhaps a bit of unusual piece of advice. I mean, when you are an Ir Uachtaráin, when you're a former president, you have particular insights, you have a particular knowledge, particular certainty about something. And I want to advise those of you who are already saying, I'm leaving on Tuesday or Wednesday or Friday, don't leave, cancel your tickets. No, stay, because this year, after that defeat of Donegal, this happened during my time. You know, it was so agonising. In 1997, Ireland got into the final, Mayo got into the final against Meath, and they drew. And we all went home, and we bit our fingernails, and we came back. And what happened? Meath won. And we've been trying since. This year, it's going to happen. Brilliant. So stay, enjoy.